no-fault divorce, the wrecker of nations and destroyer of society. And again, this was just, I had to put something together one night, so I just sat down and I did this. No-fault divorce is a national security issue. And the reason I say that is because, as I said earlier, Vladimir Lenin said, destroy the family, destroy society. If you want to destroy the society, what do? You attack the family and you attack the church. Strong, intact families are the first line of defense against tyranny and against socialism. No-fault divorce is an attack on religious liberty. And once again, because if people get married in the church thinking that they are taking a religious commitment to God, that this is what I'm doing. God brought us together. God is going to be the center of our lives. And the state says, screw that too. Wait a minute, you shouldn't even have any jurisdiction in my religious life. And that violates the First Amendment of our Constitution. No-fault divorce destroys families. And this is interesting because some of these family court judges, the honest ones, not some of these dishonest ones up here, and I'm not going to mention names like, Judge Brett Hall and stuff like that, but, whoever that may be, let it apply. If they want to dispute me, I'm here. Come on out. But no-fault divorce destroys families. What they say is that there are such a thing as unnecessary divorces. And some of these judges have said at least 40%, if not more, of the divorces are unnecessary.
Now, where did you get that? That's the first I've heard of that, but that's a very interesting statistic I haven't heard of.
Yeah, it was a judge. She wrote this back in 2004. There was also a lady who was on the Georgia Supreme Court, Leah Ward Sear. She was actually considered to be nominated to the Supreme Court of the U.S. under Barack Obama. But what happened with her is that she had a brother who went through a no-fault divorce. He committed suicide. And here she is, a strong Democrat, and she's also saying, she teamed up with another researcher and said, you know what, at least 40% of the divorces are needless divorces. Needless. The state is destroying families needlessly. Now, Brandon, I understand that, if I go to the hospital and if I say, hey, listen, I've got a sickness, and I go to the doctor's office and the doctor says, let me take care of that for you, and injects me with cyanide. Oh yeah, he took care of my disease, but he killed me. And there's a lot of marriages that can't, not just talking about marriages, we've got to talk about families. Families that can be saved should be saved. They should not be needlessly destroyed. They should not have the state administering cyanide. They should not have the state killing our kids and our grandkids, because this is their destruction. This is a state issue. And no-fault divorce destroys families that don't need to be destroyed. And as you know, in many instances, a father or a mother becomes a visitor in his or her child's life.
And that's, now, you're bringing that up. I want to make it clear. I say this in all my videos. People come in, they go out, they see some, they don't see others. The state of Texas mandates absent fathers.
Yep.
When the relationship breaks up between the man and the woman.
Right. Absolutely.
They mandate it.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes they mandate it for the mothers too. I mean, they lie about it. They say, well, no, this is the best interest of the child. They're full of crap, because I'll tell you right off the bat, Brandon, anybody who says that divorce is in the best interest of the child is lying to you. They are lying to you. They are unscientific. All the research indicates otherwise. It is a lying argument. I don't care if it's a judge, if it's an attorney. I don't care if it's the governor himself. They are lying to you. In the vast majority of instances, there may be sometimes divorce will actually help the children, but but by and large, that is a lying argument. But as I said earlier as well, no-fault divorce removes all legal protection from marriage. It is no-fault divorce is the pig with the lipstick on it. Right. It's still a pig. It's the marketing term, no-fault divorce. Oh, it sounds like they just couldn't work it out. Usually no-fault divorce is forced divorce. It's unilateral divorce. Divorce on demand. Divorce for any reason, for no reason. Divorce that the state will always, without exception, approve 100% of the time. Needless divorce. But here when you go for a divorce and you're being served, it says you are being sued.
Yes, it does.
And if you're being sued...
Guys, I want y'all to know that they have painted this, they've applied this lipstick to this pig to make us, they've institutionalized it in the minds of our society that this is okay.
Yeah. And Brandon, in some of these states, when the pigs get so big and they're just so plentiful, they want people to slaughter and slaughter them and shoot them. This is one pig that needs to be shot. No-fault divorce.
Yes.
And by the way, just so that you know, it is on the platform of the Republican platform. It's been there. I got to add a little something to it this time. Next time around, I'm going to try to go for the constitutional issue of it. But it's a lawsuit. It's a sham lawsuit, because you can never win. If you're the respondent,
you're never going to win.
Yeah.
Well, run through these.
Okay. You're just about ready to go. Okay.
Well,
it's unconstitutional because it violates the 5th and the 14th Amendments, which would be equal protection and due process and equal protection. It violates the First Amendment of the Constitution, in that it violates the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause for people of religion. It violates a Contract Clause, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. It's cruel and it's just. And as opposed to, people say, well, what about domestic violence? No-fault divorce creates domestic violence. The safest place for children in most instances is with their parents, not with mommy's new boyfriend, who may be the one abusing a girl, and the father can do nothing about it. Or it happens the other way too. No-fault divorce empowers the state. The state, this was amazing. When I was watching Chris Clay's lawsuit in front of the Supreme Court, this one attorney said, the moment you decided to enter into this courtroom, you lost your rights. You surrendered them to the state. Wait a minute. I got dragged in against my will, and now you're taking my rights away too? We have the Bill of Rights to protect us from a tyrannical state, and through the family courts, the state is the number one tyrant in this country.
And that is one thing, and I want to wrap this up so my battery doesn't die.
Gotcha.
We don't have a plug-in around here to plug this thing in.
Yeah.
That is a topic that they always use against us in these courts. They say, well, you lost your right when you couldn't figure it out on your own and work this out amongst yourselves. But when you only have one party
willing to do it,
willing to work, and usually it's the guy not wanting to get a divorce or the woman not wanting to get a divorce, and it's being forced upon them. That's not two people making the choice. No, one made the choice and the other has to respond.
Right, exactly.
They're not, it's not two people on their own free will coming into the courthouse.
So let's put it this way, I and the state disagree, so therefore we need to go to somebody else and rule on the state. Because, the state is in the wrong. The state is tyrannical. And at the convention, when I spoke down there, I listed, I think, 8 to 10 constitutional issues that no-fault divorce completely obliterates. This is a liberty issue. It is a constitutional issue. This is an anarchy issue because it's creating anarchy. Yes. It's a failed 50-year experiment. We have about 45 to 50 million children of divorce. They are not doing well.
Absolutely. No, it's destroying our society.
It is.
Sure.
It is. In fact, here's what President Ronald Reagan said. He said signing no-fault divorce was the biggest mistake he made in public office. Governor Mike Huckabee, I spoke to him about a year or so ago. He said no-fault divorce is the worst thing that ever happened to America. And therefore, the only option that we have is to repeal unilateral no-fault divorce. In fact, I would say that according to our Texas State Constitution, if you look at Article 1, Section 29, and it says this. It says, the Bill of Rights are accepted from powers of government and are inviolate to guard against transgression of the high powers, our state, to guard against their transgressions herein delegated, we declare that everything in this Bill of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall forever remain inviolate, and all laws contrary thereto or the following provisions shall be void. And if you look at Article 3, Section 56.13, it specifically says the legislature is forbidden from making special laws granting divorces.
Does it really? Wow.
Article 3, Section 56.13.
It talks about divorce.
It says, the legislature is forbidden from making a special law granting divorce. Most people don't know about this.
Wow.
And I took it to an attorney, and the attorney said, well, and a good attorney too. And he said, I've never heard about this. I said, well, here.
Wow.
Take a look at it, see what you think. And
that's the first I've heard of it, Jeff.
And by the way, 2 days ago, the issue of no-fault divorce was argued before the Nebraska Supreme Court up in Lincoln, Nebraska. It'll probably be by the end of the year that they'll have a decision on that. And because it is unconstitutional. And, what I thought was interesting about this is that the attorney who argued it tried to make it also an equal access issue as well. And the reason being is because they found out after Obergefell that there were about 1,000 federal benefits that were granted to married couples. So if you're being forcefully divorced, you are forcefully having these 1,000 plus benefits taken away from you. The government should be protecting you, not plundering you. And then also, looking at a parent as being a pocketbook or a wallet instead of a parent. Really, this is the most awful thing. And I've spoken about this repeatedly. And no matter what the issues are, if you talk about taxation, you know that divorce and unwed childbearing, according to a 2008 study, cost America at least $112 billion a year for taxpayers. Not for the people, for taxpayers. At least, probably even more than that. So every year, every 10 years, you're looking at probably like $1.3, $1.4 trillion because of divorce. Every time somebody gets divorced, you get a tax bill.
Okay, but not only do you get a tax bill, but there's a loss of productivity.
Absolutely.
Due to the emotional and psychological strain placed on both the man and the woman. Right. Because they are not as productive. They are not as productive to society. Right. And then they're raising up children who are not. I mean, look at the decimation in the black community alone that Lieutenant Colonel Allen West addresses all the time.
I can look at the decimation in my own life. When my parents went through a divorce, and it was a divorce that my mother initiated, no-fault divorce in Pennsylvania, I was ranked number 3 out of a class of 757 students, and I wasn't trying that hard. Wow. And then the next year and a half to 2 years, I probably missed 35 to 40 days of school each year. Wow. Got my first D. I was straight A's.
Wow. So you went from third to probably bottom third.
No, not the bottom third. No, I still stayed up there. Come on, I think I was like top 8 or 10%. I got my yellow cord or whatever. Okay. But I mean, I could have gone for valedictorian, because the valedictorians are really studying, and I was just kind of like, I was too busy playing sports and stuff like that, and taking karate and everything. Yeah. But you know, it caused a tremendous breakdown. And the reason I say the black community like that is because that almost can sometimes, to certain people, they know it. And when I say that, but it's not a race issue. I'm not saying. I know. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying it's
I have learned a lot of people in this movement. White folks don't really realize, hey, the black guys are, they're pushed to the side. But it's relevant now because when they weren't paying attention, and I don't remember who the guy was. He was a poet or something in Germany. He said when the Nazis came for so and so, I didn't say anything. Yeah. And then when he came from, the other guy and my neighbor and this guy and that, he said, but when they came for me, I didn't speak out against all these other people who were taken by the Nazis. When they came for me, there was nobody to stand up.
Yeah. And Brandon, I want to say this because of that. The stuff that we're fighting for is not just for us right now, because to some degree, we have survived. We've been victimized, but we've survived. But I am fighting because I do not want this to happen to my grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I wish I would have, it's in my car, but I've got my picture of my grandchildren. And next Sunday, is Grandparents' Day. It's been over 5 years since I've seen my grandchildren. And it's been because I cannot tell you the destruction that took place. I was watching them all the time. And then, and the state.
Just got a couple minutes.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, the state got involved with that.
But here, because of no-fault divorce.
Because of no-fault divorce.
You're talking about 3-4 generations.
Right.
That are destroyed because of these socialist policies.
Right.
These are socialist, communist policies carried out by the government, by the Republican government, by Greg Abbott, communist Greg Abbott. I call him Comrade Abbott because he is a communist. He is the one who implemented many of these policies. Might have started with Reagan, but in the state of Texas, they have taken this to a level that surpasses any other state in the nation. Yeah. So look, guys, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for anybody that didn't meet my friend Jeff Morgan here. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got tons and tons of content discussing no-fault divorce. He's got interviews with like Don Huffines, phenomenal Texas legislator. He's got tons and tons of content. Yeah. Check out Jeff's YouTube channel. I'm gonna charge up my phone. We may do one more video before we part ways. I know this is a lengthy one. It's about an hour. That's a long time. But Jeff was also breaking this down on his camera, and he'll break it up into some smaller segments. So if you didn't get a chance and don't want to go back and listen to an hour long of Jeff and I rambling on, check out his YouTube channel and you know, put in some keywords and it'll pop up. Well, thanks guys. We'll catch y'all in the next video.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Brandon.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.